So the other day, I'm having a conversation with my friend in Slack, and he uses the word portentous. He asks, is that the right word? And I say, I'll look it up. And I tried to look it up by jumping into a terminal, and then quickly realizing I don't have a dictionary in my terminal. And what's more, I didn't find an easy way to make a dictionary in my terminal. Couldn't just go download one, which seems weird to me because I'm pretty sure there are dictionaries out there. So instead, I made one. And, well, I made a client for one. And let's see what this looks like. So I've got the word, turns out the word he wanted to use was portentous. And let's take a look at that. So WD portentous, and I can look it up. All right, so the naive attempt at doing this in Bash was a failure. But this is what I did. First, I went out and thought, maybe I can find a free dictionary online. So I did that, right? So I found a free dictionary, and I've got it here in this JSON. Got this free dictionary. I thought, well, this is perfect. And then I thought, I'm a genius. I'm just going to sort this thing, right? And then I'm going to pipe it to FZF. So there's my dictionary. I did it, right? And I can type in words, like I can type in portent. There we go. And there's portent, that which portends. Okay, great. Nice. So I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. Let me try a different word. Let's try internet. I didn't get anything. And now maybe if you're smarter than me, you'll figure out why I didn't get anything. Took me like a minute or two to figure this out. I'm starting to realize like a lot is missing here. And the reason a lot is missing here is that this dictionary is 100 years old, right? So if you look up words like computer, one who computes. Okay, so then I thought, okay, well, this might be a good chance for me to start playing around with Go. And yeah, so that's what I did. So I wrote a Go program, which is just a client. It wraps the Oxford English Dictionary and uses their API. And yeah, so that's what I was showing you before. So I have it in directory here. I call it word define, right? Word define, so I can look up igloo. Okay, great. But I'm using WD as an alias because that's much faster. So word define is actually pretty quick. Let me try it out. So internet. We time this thing. It takes, about, a tenth of a second, which I think is pretty fast. But if I run it again, now it takes no time, right? Effectively 0 seconds. And that's because locally I have it set up to cache. First, let me show you how to install this thing. So I'm going to jump into a Docker container just so you can see like I've got nothing in here. The easiest way to install this would be, I'm actually going to need curl here. I'm going to install curl, and then I'm going to actually curl this thing. So I'm going to curl. Here's the URL, -L. I want to follow redirects, -O, and we're going to call it word define. Okay, and now if I do my ls-alh, I've got word define right here. I need to chmod +x word define. And now I can actually run word define, and it's going to want me to put in a word. So let me put in a word here. Let's use a word portent, and it's now going to tell me I don't have a valid config key and ID. That's because the API, you have to actually sign up for this thing. You need an app key and an app ID. So let's go get one. All right. So on the Oxford Dictionary, you're going to go into credentials. You're going to have to sign in. You're going to have to create an account. You should use real information, should not use fake information. Then you're going to go into your app here, Kai Logan's app, and they're going to give you an application ID and an application key, and you can create new keys. And you can try these ones if you want, but they will not exist when this video is released, so it will be all for naught. Okay, now back in my Docker container, actually, I want to install Vim, and then I'm going to go into my config here, word define, and I'm going to edit this thing. So I've got my application ID, copy this into there. Let's try word define again, and we'll use the same word, portent. And there, we got it working. Nice. Portent. But you'll see it's a little bit slow, right? Because it's not caching it here. I can set it up to cache it by going back into my config and changing cache to true. Now, you'll have to check with the Oxford English Dictionary and see if they'll allow you to cache it. That's totally up to you. You better read their terms of service. Okay, so let's go here and then, word define, and one more time, portent. So slow, and now way faster because it is cached. Alternatively, if you already have Go and Git installed, which you may well, but I don't, so let me get those. Then you can just run go get and then the name of the project, and then it'll be in your Go path right here. Perfect. And you'll have all the source code too, which is super valuable. So before we get into the code, I want to show you how complicated the JSON that we're actually getting back from these APIs, this API is. So all I'm doing here is I'm getting the response for querying for the word Tom, which is my name, and throwing into sampled JSON. So how many lines do you think the JSON response would be for the name Tom? And the answer is, it is over 400 lines. Because the people at Oxford University Press actually know what they're doing. They're not like me, who would just think that it's a key value store. Dictionary is not actually like that. There's a ton of information in here. All right, so you've got multiple entries. Sometimes you have multiple sentences. You have audio files, dialects. So there's actually a lot of information in here, and I don't want to show most of it, right? Because if I do WD Tom, I only want to see, the information that I would actually care about, which is the definition, and the etymology is sometimes interesting too. Did not know my name was also a female prostitute, so good to know, I guess. Okay, so now the question is, how are you going to handle a piece of JSON like this? If you're used to, JavaScript, this is pretty easy. Or, if you're used to PHP, this is pretty easy. Or, if you're used to Python, this is pretty easy. Or, if you're used to Perl, with Go, you actually have to tell it what you expect. Otherwise, it just won't compile for you. And what you expect turns out to be pretty intense. But I found something pretty cool. If I just grab all this JSON and throw it in here, there we go. It throws it all and turns it all into structs for me, which is pretty amazing. Okay, so that's it. At the end, you end up with dictionary in the command line, which has so far proven to be not super useful, if I'm being honest, but it's been kind of fun. And yeah, so goodbye.